Senator McCarthy.
Madam Deputy President, I rise to take note of the answer given by Senator Brandis to the question asked by myself this afternoon. It's incredibly disappointing, Madam Deputy President, in particular on this day, Harmony Day, as we reflect on the importance of Harmony Day. And I want to go to some of the answers in Senator Brandis's answers to me and my questions. Beginning first, of course, with Senator Brandis's response in terms of Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull. Now, I asked first up just the fact that Mr Turnbull had said on at least 16 occasions, Madam Deputy President, that he'd ruled out his government amending Section 18C of the Racial Discrimination Act, and Senator Brandis said that he hasn't said that, certainly that many times. I just want to point out some very important media coverage on moments where Mr Turnbull denied that it was certainly a distraction for his government. And in the NT News, in the news.com, on August 31st, 2016, and I quote, "The government has no plans to make any changes to Section 18C. He also said it again on August 30 in the Australian, Mr Turnbull, and I quote, "It's filled the op-ed pages of newspapers for years and years, but the government has no plans to make any changes to Section 18C. We have other much more pressing priorities to address." End of quote. And then again on November 14, 2016, on the ABC 7:30 report, Mr Turnbull said, and I quote, "18C is talked about constantly on the ABC, constantly in what's often called the elite media. I've focused overwhelmingly on the economy." End of quote. Well, it appears that Prime Minister Turnbull has changed his tact, because today, on one of the most significant days in Australia and across the world, as we think of Harmony Day, and the purpose behind Harmony Day is to reflect on the diversity of culture across this country, something that unfortunately has been really stained by the Prime Minister's move to change the Racial Discrimination Act, in particular on this day. It's incredibly sad. It really is a watering down of protections against racial vilifications, and the irony of it being done on this day. The Attorney-General says he does not believe the Australian people are racist. Well, Senator Brandis, as a white man growing up in Petersham and attending private schools, I'm sure you've never been denied access or service to a shop. You've never had taxis drive past pretending not to see you. You've never received hateful letters and emails because of your race or the colour of your skin. And I really wish I could believe there aren't any racists in Australia, but certainly my personal experience, my family's experience informs me of the reality that I live in this country, and it is deeply unfortunate. And as I said and asked you in my question, what else do you need to say to me and many other people of different races in this country that you cannot say now? What is it that you need to remove so determinedly that you cannot say to people now? My predecessor, and I raised this, Senator Nova Peris, had a disgraceful time in the Senate, standing here, being called all sorts of things. In fact, even on her Twitter account today, in terms of what racism she received from the general public. So and certainly I'm clarifying this, if you're thinking it's in the Senate, this is where she raised the issue in the Senate of the racism that was displayed against her from the general public across Australia. And it is really important to put this on the record. And she stood courageously here to point out from her own personal experiences that racism is very much alive and strong in this country. And we, as parliamentarians, in both the Senate, in the House of Reps, must show leadership about the importance of harmony, diversity, cultural respect, something that is not happening now today in the Turnbull government. So, Madam Deputy President, being the target of racist, hurtful comments is deeply, deeply distressing and causes deep harm.
Thank you, Senator McCarthy.